Picture this. You've got abdominal pain, so naturally you consult the most reliable medical professional available at 3 a.m., Google. You type in your symptoms and somehow convince yourself it's anything but appendicitis. Probably just constipation. Maybe I pulled a muscle. Could be anxiety manifesting physically. You scroll past the appendicitis results because WebMD also said you could have cancer, a hernia, or just need to poop, and appendicitis seems too obvious, too common. Surely your body would do something more unique, right? Wrong. Your appendix doesn't care about being original, bro, and now it's about to make your abdominal cavity its personal crime scene. Welcome to the consequences of your medical degree from Google University. So buckle up, because I'm about to walk you through exactly what happens when you treat a surgical emergency like it's a conspiracy theory you need to debunk. Here's what you need to understand about your appendix. It's this little finger-shaped pouch attached to your large intestine, hanging out in your lower right abdomen, doing absolutely nothing useful. Seriously, it's like the evolutionary equivalent of that drawer in your kitchen full of random cables. Nobody knows why it's there, but when it becomes a problem, it becomes a big problem. And right now, yours is having a catastrophic malfunction. But you wouldn't know that because according to your Google search, you've got 17 different conditions, and you've somehow convinced yourself that the most common abdominal emergency that sends 300,000 Americans to the hospital every year is too basic for your sophisticated digestive system. Let me break down your terrible decision-making and what's actually happening inside your body while you're busy being wrong on the internet. Hour 0 to 6. The inflammation invitation. It starts innocent enough. Your appendix gets blocked. Could be from hardened stool called a fecalif, which is exactly as gross as it sounds, or maybe some inflamed lymph tissue or just bad luck. The opening of your appendix gets plugged like a clogged pipe. But here's the thing. Your appendix doesn't get the memo that it's blocked. It just keeps producing mucus and doing its weird vestigial organ thing. Now you've got a closed system that's filling up with fluid and bacteria. The pressure starts building. Your appendix begins to swell. This is when you first feel that vague, annoying pain around your belly button. It's not sharp yet, it's just uncomfortable. This is the exact moment you Google stomach pain and convince yourself you ate something weird. Fun fact, the pain starts around your belly button because of something called referred pain. Your appendix shares nerve pathways with that area, so your brain gets confused about where the danger signal is actually coming from. It's like your body's check engine light is on, but you're checking the wrong engine. You're thinking it's gas. It's not gas, my guy. Hour 6 to 12. The pressure cooker situation. By now, the bacteria inside your appendix are having an absolute party. We're talking E. coli, bacteroids, all the usual gut bacteria suspects, but now they're trapped in a swelling sack of tissue with nowhere to go. The inflammation is ramping up. Your appendix is expanding like a cursed water balloon. This is when the pain migrates. It moves from that vague belly button area to your lower right side, a spot called McBurney Point, located about 2/3 of the way from your belly button to your right hip bone. The pain gets sharper, more localized, more aggressive. Your body is screaming at you in increasingly specific anatomical locations, and you're over here like, probably just need to do some yoga stretches. The tissue of your appendix is stretching. The blood supply is getting compromised because the swelling is so intense that it's literally choking off its own circulation. Cells are starting to die. Your appendix is becoming necrotic. That means the tissue is rotting while still inside you. You're essentially composting internally. You might spike a fever now, maybe feel nauseous, probably throw up. But sure, tell yourself it's food poisoning. Your appendix will wait. Hour 12 to 24. The main event. Welcome to the rupture, bro. Your appendix has been holding on like an overfilled garbage bag, and now the structural integrity just gives up. The wall of your appendix tears open. Everything that was supposed to stay contained, the pus, the bacteria, the necrotic tissue, all that infected nastiness just floods into your peritoneal cavity. That's the sterile space that houses all your abdominal organs. Spoiler alert, it's not sterile anymore. Here's what's actually happening at a cellular level, and it's absolutely brutal. When your appendix ruptures, you're basically detonating a biological bomb inside yourself. Billions of bacteria suddenly have access to your entire abdominal cavity. Your peritoneum, that smooth membrane that lines your abdomen and covers your organs, immediately freaks out and triggers a massive inflammatory response. Your body goes into crisis mode. White blood cells flood the area. Your immune system is throwing everything it has at this infection, but here's the problem. It's a losing battle. The bacteria are multiplying exponentially. Your body temperature spikes as your hypothalamus cranks up the heat trying to kill the infection with fever. You're sweating, shaking, your heart rate is climbing because your cardiovascular system is trying to compensate for the inflammation. And here's the really messed up part. You might actually feel better for a little bit after it ruptures. The pressure is released. That intense, localized pain might decrease temporarily. Some people think, oh, see, I was right. It's going away on its own. No, dude, that's not healing. That's the eye of the hurricane. You just graduated from appendicitis to peritonitis, which is objectively worse in every measurable way. Hour 24 to 48. Peritonitis throws a rager. Peritonitis is the inflammation of your peritoneum, and it is not messing around. Your entire abdomen is now involved in this disaster. The infection is spreading across all your abdominal organs like the worst house party that never got invited. Your abdomen becomes rigid and distended. This is called guarding. Your abdominal muscles involuntarily tense up to protect the inflamed organs underneath. If someone were to press on your stomach, you'd nearly punch them from the pain. There's also something called rebound tenderness, where releasing pressure hurts more than applying it, because the inflamed peritoneum snaps back against your infected organs. Your intestines start to slow down and eventually stop moving. This is called ileus. Basically, your digestive system goes on strike. Nothing is moving through. You're not passing gas, you're not pooping, everything is just stuck, which means more bacteria, more toxins, more problems. The bacteria are producing endotoxins. These are literally poisons that get released when bacteria die or reproduce. These toxins enter your bloodstream. Your liver is trying to filter them out, but it's overwhelmed. Your kidneys are working overtime. Your whole body is basically trying to process a poison that it's simultaneously creating more of. Hour 48 plus. Septic shock territory. If you've made it this far without medical intervention, congratulations on your absolutely unhinged commitment to avoiding the hospital. You've now entered septic shock, which is when the infection in your abdomen goes systemic, meaning it's in your bloodstream, traveling to every organ system. Your blood pressure drops because your blood vessels are dilating from all the inflammatory chemicals. Your heart is racing, trying to compensate, but it can't keep up. Your organs aren't getting enough oxygen. Your kidneys might start failing. Your liver is struggling. Your brain isn't getting adequate perfusion, so you're confused, disoriented, maybe hallucinating. This is multi-organ failure speedrun territory, my friend, and it all started because you thought appendicitis was too mainstream for your symptoms. Okay, but what does this actually feel like? Let me paint you the subjective experience, because the medical breakdown doesn't capture the absolute horror show of sensations you're dealing with. First, there's the pain, and I'm not talking about stubbed toe pain or even broken bone pain. This is deep, visceral, all-consuming abdominal pain that makes you unable to stand up straight. Every movement, breathing, shifting position, existing, sends sharp jolts through your gut. You instinctively curl into the fetal position because extending your body stretches the inflamed peritoneum, and it's genuinely unbearable. You're nauseous in that special way where you know throwing up won't help, but your body keeps trying anyway. When you do throw up, it's this bile-filled horror because your digestive system has completely stalled out. The fever makes everything worse. You're alternating between feeling like you're on fire and having intense chills. You're soaked in sweat. Your heart is pounding so hard you can hear it in your ears. Every heartbeat seems to pulse in sync with the pain in your abdomen. You can't get comfortable. There's no position that helps. Lying down hurts, sitting up hurts, moving is agony, but staying still isn't better. And there's this overwhelming sense of wrongness. Your body knows something is catastrophically broken. There's a primal fear that kicks in, this evolutionary alarm system screaming that you are in serious danger. But you've spent so long convincing yourself it's fine that now you're trapped between denial and terror. If you make it to septic shock, things get even weirder. You might feel strangely calm or detached. That's your brain lacking oxygen. Reality gets fuzzy. Time doesn't make sense. You might not even be able to articulate that you need help because your cognitive function is shutting down. It's basically your body's way of saying, I've tried everything to get your attention, and now we're both just going down with the ship. So, what happens after? If you somehow survive this without treatment, which is statistically unlikely because untreated septic shock has a mortality rate of 30 to 50%, you're looking at potential complications that include abscess formation, sepsis-induced organ damage, and chronic peritoneal adhesions that can cause bowel obstructions down the line. If people find you and get you to the hospital, you're going in for emergency surgery. They'll do an appendectomy, remove what's left of your exploded appendix, and then they'll have to irrigate your entire peritoneal cavity, flushing out all that infected material. You'll be on IV antibiotics for days. You might need multiple surgeries if abscesses have formed. Your recovery is going to be brutal. But here's the absolutely tragic part. Appendicitis is one of the most treatable surgical emergencies if you catch it early. If you'd gone to the ER when the pain first migrated to your lower right side, they would have done some imaging, confirmed appendicitis, taken you to surgery, removed your appendix laparoscopically, and you would have been home in a day or two with some small incisions and a funny anesthesia story. Instead, you Googled yourself into a medical catastrophe. So, let's talk about how to not do this. Here's your actual safety advice. Know the signs of appendicitis: pain that starts around the belly button and moves to the lower right abdomen, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, fever, and pain that gets worse with movement. If you've got these symptoms, go to the hospital. Not urgent care, not your primary doctor's office in 3 days. The emergency room, now. Don't take painkillers to mask the symptoms. I know it hurts, but pain is information. If you numb it, you're hiding critical data from yourself and potentially from doctors trying to diagnose you. Don't wait to see if it gets better. Appendicitis doesn't resolve on its own. It only gets worse. Every hour you wait increases your risk of rupture, and rupture increases your risk of dying or having serious complications. Google is not a doctor. I cannot stress this enough. Google is a search engine that will tell you that your headache is both dehydration and a brain tumor. It has no ability to physically examine you, run tests, or make clinical judgments. Use it to learn about conditions, sure, but do not use it to diagnose yourself out of seeking medical care. Trust your gut. Literally. If something feels seriously wrong, it probably is. Your body has millions of years of evolutionary programming designed to alert you to danger. Don't intellectualize yourself out of listening to those signals. If you're worried about overreacting or wasting doctors' time, remember this: doctors would much rather see you for a false alarm than see you in septic shock. A false alarm means you go home. Ignoring a real emergency means you might not go home at all. And finally, if you're avoiding the hospital because of cost, fear, or inconvenience, I get it. The American healthcare system is a dystopian nightmare, hospitals are scary, and nobody wants to deal with medical bills. But I promise you, treating early appendicitis is way cheaper and less traumatic than treating ruptured appendicitis with peritonitis. And being dead is the most inconvenient outcome of all. So, there you have it. The complete breakdown of how Googling yourself into denial turns a routine surgery into a brush with death. Your appendix doesn't care about your research. It doesn't care that you've got things to do. It's just a tiny, useless organ with the power to absolutely wreck you if you ignore it. If you enjoyed this journey through medical negligence and bodily failure, go ahead and subscribe, because I've got a whole catalog of worst ways to go. And I'm literally dead, so I've got nothing but time to explain them to you. Every week, we're exploring another way your body can catastrophically fail, because apparently, you all need these reminders. I'll be here, drinking my ghost coffee, watching people make terrible decisions, and providing the insider knowledge that comes with being on the other side. Because death is patient, bro. It'll wait for you to finish that Google search. Stay safe out there. Or don't. Either way, I'll see you eventually.